Hello. This is the All Around Natural Beauty who is coming to you live. And I've been on live now for the last 10 minutes. And however, I just discovered that um, I guess I wasn't going live. So here I am. There, one moment. Let me get set up here. All right. So, All Around Natural Beauty. Welcome to the All Around Natural Beauty channel where we talk about all around natural beautiness. We're talking about healing and getting yourself whole in an all around natural way. I'm just a little set back because I've been talking for the last 20 minutes here, and not 20 minutes, about 15 minutes or so. It's about 15 minutes, and yeah, so there was no, I wasn't filming, and so now I'm going to start all over. And one thing that I can definitely say is that I'm just basically just free flowing, and which is the reason why I'm a little behind because I don't really remember what it was that I was talking about. But it was some really good stuff. It was some very good stuff. But thank you, and I'd like to welcome you to the All Around Natural Beauty channel, where I'm passionate about helping people to be able to identify narcissistic personality disorder traits in people so you can avoid getting entangled with one of them. The topic of this subject that I've been talking about for the last 5 days is a Darrell Brooks who was recently sentenced to hundreds of years in prison for driving his red Ford Escape through a crowd of parade goers and killing 6 people and injuring dozens of others. So this is the reason why I selected to talk about him is because he is a narcissist, and his whole situation for this last year has been documented, and we could view these tapes, and I can help y'all to pick out the personality traits, the body language, the body posture, the word play, the word salad. Narcissists are very gifted at word salad and will distract you and confuse you and get you thrown off the subject in order to be able to manipulate you. And one of the things that we also talked about is time. So they are pretty much time vampires and will suck you dry from your time, energy, and resources. And these are things that you want to avoid because life is short and you cannot get your time back. So, in order to avoid wasting time learning a lesson, realizing that you cannot, um, you know, um, have a successful relationship with a narcissist, you can't love them better. You have to, get out of that. So the best thing to do, and it's difficult because of their pathology, where they're going to love bomb you and keep bringing you back. So this is one of the reasons why we want to talk about this, is because most of the times when you're in the people that are in abusive relationships, the abuser is suffering from some form of narcissism, and these narcissists have the tendency to get violent. They can rage on you, but that's part of their condition too, is the rage. And we saw how Darrell Brooks raged. He is has a history of domestic abuse, and was actually in the midst of domestically abusing the baby mama, ex-girlfriend, current girlfriend, et cetera, et cetera. They've been back and forth for more than over a decade, more than 15 plus years, back and forth, back and forth. And we talked about yesterday how a victim will leave the abuser and return back up to 7 times before they finally get the strength to leave and go no contact and never return. So it's like a cycle, and it's a difficult cycle to understand why someone would go back to, an abuser, right? So if I'm walking down the street and some guy punches me in the nose, right? I see the person that punched me in the nose, and they left and got away. The next morning, I'm walking down that same street, and I see that guy, and he goes like that. What are the chances of me actually going over there to him, right? It should be slim to none because, like, he's a stranger and he just punched me. Why would I go back over there to an abuser? We need to ask ourselves these same questions when we are returning back to an abuser. That is the most dangerous thing that you can do, is to return back to an abuser, no matter how much begging, pleading, and promises that they won't do it again. The statistics show that they will re-offend, and it's going to get worse because you chose to take them back. It by accepting them back, you're telling them that you're okay with the abuse. You're telling the abuser that you're okay with the abuser. Thank y'all for showing up. Please hit the like button on your way in here. You're telling the abuser that you're okay with the abuse. That's why it's important to, see those yellow flags. And if you happen to get into a red flag zone, to plan an escape, an exit strategy, and get out of there, be safe, and you can never, ever return. That's why your strategy to leave has got to be planned out, because you can't go back. Because if you go back, it's going to be bad for you, because they're going to, turn it up, because they, have to pay you back for actually leaving. So that's why, we're talking about Darrell Brooks, and we are showing how a lot of times these narcissists are raised by female narcissists. So we want to say that we can't just say it's the men that we have to be aware of, because there are women out there that suffer also with this. And these female narcissists are responsible for manipulating males to do their dirty work for them. Like, the prisons are kind of filled with some female narcissists who's enticed or seduced or manipulated some people into unaliving people for on their behalf, right? So they do a lot of mental manipulation too, and they are just as dangerous, if not more dangerous, than the males, because of the rage and stuff like that. That is more hidden, right? So it's more secretive, and so that's why we want to talk about that too, to see these signs. We're gonna look again at the grandmother's testimony, because you can see how, and she's 80 years old, right? So you can actually see the years of viciousness in her face. And I can just imagine the type of abuse that she put out, like, and how those kind of abusers usually support and enable the male abusers in the family. So we were talking about how society tends to put more value on the men and devalue the women. So we don't really hold the men accountable. And when we uphold them, or, turn the head when they do these abusive things to other people, especially women and children, we are breeding and creating these monstrous men who are committing these heinous acts to women. And then in Darrell's case, we know Darrell's case, when the abuser can't get to the intended victim, the intended target, they will lash out to whomever is close by. And we saw that in this case, where he drove his vehicle through the crowd of innocent parade goers in attempt to, he was angry at the ex-girlfriend, who he had just been arrested for battery on her from a November the 2nd incident, where he punched her and hit her with the red Ford Escape that he later drove into the crowd, right? So after that incident, Darrell Brooks' mother, another narcissist, bailed him out, right? Bailed him out of jail from, what he just did with the girlfriend. And when she bailed him out, that was how he was out and available to be out there at that parade was because of that ex-girlfriend, whom showed her mental breakdown as far as like these victims who can't resist the abusers. Like they keep calling them back and they come. So he was able to get the location out of her because she was in a women's shelter from hiding from him from the abuse. However, she gave up the information. So we saw how persistent he was as far as in the cases and things like that during the trials and all that. Very, he could, these narcissists are really good. They'll tear you down. They like to just wear you down. And for whatever it's worth, he's been wearing this woman down for the last 15 years. So he, she's pretty much, just a zombie as far as like, not having any type of willpower to be able to resist this person. So he was able to get the location from her and drive up there and have another altercation with her. And in a fit of anger because she got away, he drives the car off and kills 6 people. So that's why it's important that we see these red flags and we try to help victims to be able to understand their situation so they can get out of it and stuff like that. So here is something, but I want to do something a little bit different too later after I guess break this down, or should I start it off with this? There was a question that was kind of posed to me about, there's a video going around. I'm going to just play it. It's real quick. It's about 3 minutes, and it'll kind of give us a discussion point too, because the reason why this video is important, because I said we're, even though we're using Darrell Brooks's story, I just wanted to be able to show you that he's nobody special, that this Darrell Brooks is out there all over the place. And you want to be able to pick up these yellow flags before, like when these males are coming at you, right? They're trying to pick you up. You want to be able to, avoid or know how to see the ones that are narcissists or have the potential to be deadbeats and all these things. So that's why I want to show this one video first, because it's kind of what's happening now. And I know there's a lot of ladies that have been tricked and fooled off into some of these relationships, believing these men, and you want to know, you feel like dumb and stupid. Like you want to know, like, how could I, I know it happened to me. How could I have been so stupid? And how did this happen? Right. So we got to see, how did this pass? Right. So a lot of times you can see just from a cover shot, right? Or just from a few words come out of the mouth, and then you, cut your losses there and move on. So the first thing I want to show you, I'm going to share my screen. It's a little TikTok video. I'm not sure who the gentleman is who's making the video, but it's off TikTok, and I'm getting this from another YouTuber, Narda, who has uploaded this video on her channel, and she's asking the question. So we're gonna look at that, and I'm gonna give my answer and opinion to you after it's all done. Okay, let's see here. All righty.
28. And of course, I wasn't ready to settle down at those ages. I'm out here, I'm doing my thing. But they were. They was ready to settle down at those ages. And I'm sure a lot of you men out here have.
Wait a minute. I think I didn't get from the beginning. Where is the red bar? Oops. I apologize, y'all. Oh, this is it. There we go. Take it down here. It says he had his first child at 17.
Then I met another woman. I had my next one at 24.
All right, y'all hear that? He said he had his first child at 17. Then he met another woman, had another one at 24. And the caption up here says, "For those that seem to have amnesia, let me help jog your memory. Finally, a man keeping it 100." So this is what they're saying, that this guy is keeping it 100. All right, so we're gonna play the video here. All right, so that's what he said so far. Just two, now it's two babies, two baby mamas, and he's 24. And action.
Then my third baby's mom, I met her when I was 28. And of course, I wasn't ready to settle down at those ages. I mean, I'm out here, I'm doing my thing. But they were. They was ready to settle down at those ages. And I'm sure a lot of you men out here have came across women in your life that were good women. Women that loved you unconditionally, women that held you down. Most men out here have had plenty of good women in their life.
All right, now I could have stopped it way back, but I wanted to give him a little bit more time to kind of say a few more things. Right now, notice how he's like trying to be on a soapbox where he's saying all these good things about women, but first he's just the first three things he said, that he's got three baby mamas all before he was 30, right? And so we're looking at him now, and he looks to be a little bit older than 30. There's gray in the beard here, so he's older, right? Looks like he's older than 30. Probably in 40s or 50s or so. All right. So the other thing that I'm noticing is that this suit and the shirt and this here, this just looks cheap, right? It looks like he is not, doing too well. Like this, this don't look like he's doing all that great, right? So, but he's trying to sell himself. Like in the past when I was young, I was doing all this stuff. I wasn't ready for a good woman. But now that I'm all old and I don't really have much to offer, but I'm ready to settle down with a good woman.
I've had women during that time, and plenty of women after that time. And guess what? They were all good women, all ready to settle down. But I wasn't. But now we're going to sit up here as men and we're going to act like they is the problem. We're going to act like women are the problem. They the ones that we want to demonize now. Wow, y'all funny. I'm seeing a lot of these pop up channels starting, running behind Jughead, Gooseneck, talking about high value. These women didn't care what you had. They just wanted you. But we forgot about them.
But these are all lies, because women really wanted you to do something. Like, I don't know why these men think that, we just want to take care of big babies. Like, we just wanted to, just to say that we have a man and that we don't care if you don't have a job or if you're, not going to be doing anything. Nobody wants to, that's not fun. Like, what I mean? It's not fun. Nobody wants that job. Like, this guy looks like he is looking for a hospice wife, because he looked like he's on his last little legs here. He's getting close to it. So now it's the time to convince you that you need a man, and to convince you that it's time for you to settle down, because he's ready. Back in his younger years, he wasn't ready, but now you ready. You ready, and you want somebody to, take care of you.
Then we look over them. You see, and now we want to start asking questions like, what do you bring to the table? You wasn't asking that when she was putting up that bail money to get you out of jail.
Wow.
You wasn't asking that. You wasn't asking.
So I'm sure that Darrell Brooks was getting, that's what he was out there for. He was mad at the baby mama, the ex-girlfriend, for having him arrested after he punched her and hit her with the car. He was mad that he had got arrested for that. So he wanted her to, cough up the $1,000 that the mama had paid, to bail him out after he abused her. And that's the thing too, these abusers will blame you for it. These men, they will blame you for it. Like, these abusers, the number one line is that, you made me do it. You made me do it. They blame you for it, right? So that's what got him out there, was because he was mad at her and needed that bail money. He wanted the bail money back. So here's this guy, so this is what they expect, and you're supposed to be okay with it. So to me, it looks like he's just trying to sell himself, and still trying to brainwash the women to thinking that these are red flags, right? Anybody that's coming up with all this stuff, this ain't, and trying to talk bad about the men and try to make it seem like they're trying to distinguish themselves, to separate themselves, like, oh, I'm not like those guys. I did that in my younger years. Be concerned, right? Because most of the time they may be concealing some stuff, like they haven't really kept up with themselves. They may be holding back some surprise health ailments that you're going to have to deal with if if you accept them, stuff like that. So you have to be aware of this kind of stuff. Let's see. I think he may say a few more significant things. So let's continue on here.
What does she bring to the table when you was coming in drunk and when you was running up her phone bill with all the collect calls, putting her in debt that she's still trying to get out of to this day?
I wonder if he's talking about himself.
Y'all like to say, what do they bring to the table? Well, you remember when she would serve you dinner every night? Wake up in the morning, serve you breakfast when you...
And listen to that, right? He's planting seeds right there. Served him dinner every night, right? Brought you breakfast. He's planting the seeds, right? Trying to condition somebody. He's fishing to see who's going to take the bait, right? I bet you there's going to be, well, I guess the term what they're calling people now, these pygmishas, right? Off in this man's DM when he's in his DM, saying, pick me, right? And I'm saying that here's yellow flags all over. Yellow flag with this cheap suit, and he doesn't look. Yeah, this. I would not. And then just his talk. Just what he's saying. This whole trying to separate himself from the other men like he's somebody different. So yeah, I just wanted to show y'all some different easy signs, right? Listen to this language. Let's give him a little more time. See what we say.
Didn't even have a table. Oh, yeah, you don't want to talk about those women. The woman that was there from day one, the woman that held you down, loved you unconditionally, didn't give a damn about whether or not you was a high value man. Wow, that's interesting. But now y'all want to run around and demonize them like they was the problem. You see, I can't stand when men don't take accountability for the things they've done.
Now, okay, so he didn't. What about your accountability? Have you said anything about your accountability? You did mention that there is three baby mamas, and so what about that? What's your accountability? And you're so blaming. And this is projection. They are very guilty of projection, to distract you over here talking about other men. What do you see? Speak about yourself.
Not realizing that when it comes to being scandalous, when it comes to letting them know that being faithful and being true don't mean nothing, we taught them everything they know.
Yeah. Okay, so that was pretty interesting. I'm trying to get my screen back here. Interesting video. I'm I'm just interested. Yeah, I just wanted to show y'all how they're putting this narrative together to convince you that you need them, and then how you could be potentially opening up the door to become what they're calling a hospice wife. When they get with you, trying to get your benefits, and to or knock you up with a baby or something like that, to have a place, an opportunity to be able to say they can come into your stuff because you have a family or something like that with them, stuff like that. So just be aware, y'all. Just be aware, because once you get off entangled with one of them, it's extremely difficult to get out of it. So here we go. We're about to talk about what we came here to talk about today, and it's Darrell Reed. I'm sorry, I keep saying that, and this is a disclaimer too. This Freudian slip. Darrell Brooks. Darrell Brooks is the person we're talking about. I do happen to know a Darrell Reed, and he's a great person, and nothing like this person. And excuse me, Darrell Reed, for keep mentioning your name. I say it a lot on my other channel, and it's why it keeps slipping out over here. But nothing intended to put the two of them together. Totally different folks here. All right, so what we're going to do now, and I've done it before, but each time I hear this video again, there's more things that I want to highlight so y'all can be aware of, because a lot of this stuff is so subtle that if you don't know what to listen for, or don't know when people are doing wordplay by saying putting an extra word on there to make the meaning different, and change it up by doing the word salad, you could it could go right over your head. You might not even be aware of this is what's happening. So this is why I keep drilling this point up in here, is because even I keep continuing to see more and more stuff. So what we're getting ready to do here, we're going to watch the video of the sentencing of when the grandmother gets up there, and show y'all how quick the mind is for these narcissists, how they have to lie and cheat and do all these things, and also hurt people, right? We're going to hear some words and see how they use words to hurt people. So let me go ahead and share a screen again. And we're going to start by just right now. I'm just going to break down just this here still shot of the face, right? Look at here. This is a smirk, right? He's trying to look sad and sad and innocent, like a boy, like he's a little sad little boy. You didn't mean it, right? And this is this face now is after his mom has already said her statement, where she was pretty much talking in an angry voice to us, and then she had the nerve to read off a poem and liken her son to a caged bird, and blame society and all that stuff, right? So now we're getting ready to get started. So I just want y'all to see, look at the face, look at the eyes, right? You can still see these dark eyes and stuff like that. This person is probably disgusted after hearing what the mother was saying, and then he is trying to play the part. So let's go. You see that? He's like trying to hold in his mouth. He's doing this thing with his mouth here because, that narc smirk is it's a serious thing, right? It's real. You have to really watch the facial expressions. Watch. Here we go. All right. She just asked a question right away. Grandma is quiet, silent, but look how quickly, for a moment, it didn't take her but a quick half a second or a few seconds to pull it together and boom, spit out a lie. All right. There's no one next to me at the moment. Thank you. All right. So then she just stopped it right there. She was defiant and told the judge, and then she tried to take control of the conversation again by saying, thank you. Like, that's it. Final. There's no one next to me at the moment. Thank you. Final. I got the final word. All right. And now let's take a look at grandma's face, right? She's annoyed. She's annoyed that she actually, inquired about who's here. All right. So let's listen. But just that little part there, look at her face. She's 80. But these narcs, they got a certain youthfulness about them because they just never grow up. All right. Watch this. See there? Thank you. And she's trying to continue. Are we good to go? Let's go. Look at her face. Look at that. See that? Look at her eyes. Looks like an angry person. You see it. You know what I mean? Like trying to play dumb now. Oh. She know exactly what was going on. But watch that. Okay, now you see this? Soon as she recognizes that, okay, she tried to at first lie her way out by saying there's no one in the room at the moment, thank you, and tried to we going moving on over that. I don't have to acknowledge your question. I don't have to acknowledge you, judge. There's no one here at the moment, thank you. Can we go now? Is what she just basically said here. And now she's cutting a very evil face at the husband who has now had her to kind of in her eyes, lose control by now having to distract the judge to get back to control over the power of the conversation. So look at that. She, and watch her change the face. Again, like I said, the narcissists are very good at putting on a mask, right? So we see here we have, she's pissed off. This is a pissed off look, and she's having to, side talk around the judge. Over talking the judge, right? See, is there a problem with him being here? He's not here at the moment. It's my husband. He's not here at the moment. She's talking over the judge and trying to hurry to hasten her back to where she can get in control and read her speech. She's just there, she's trying to get through this. She's trying to get to the speech here. And now the husband, dumbass, and walked up in here. The judge and saw you. Now I got to, messed up my, I was ready to go on. And now I got to get back into character. See the smile that you see? Look at her. Get your ass over there. See, she keeps giving him the dirty look, right? And then trying to quickly turn back to be fake, right? So all you can see, this is all fake. Nothing's authentic here. Everything is fake from all this stuff where she's, trying to paint this picture of Miss Mary, right? Look at me, I'm Miss Mary and I'm somebody special. Again, that is like 3 or 4 piercing, I'm gonna kick your ass after I get off this video look, right? So looks like grandma probably been bringing the pain to her children, her husband's probably henpecked or something like that, right? Because you can see that no men, he didn't speak up, he didn't say nothing, he didn't want to show his face on there, this husband, right? So no men in there, and that's usually a clear indication when the relationship is driven by a female narcissist, right? Everybody's scared, right? And just you can see that look over there, that you can see that she is evil. And listen to what she says. All right, look at her. See how she quickly come out there, right? So she was ready to get her little story together. For the record, I am Doctor, right? And then all of a sudden she couldn't control. I am not. Like that came out real quick and bigger because this is something that she is, has been irking to get to. She's got to clear her name, right? Now she's going to pull it back together and calm down because the narcissists are very good at keeping that mask on. They don't like for their emotions not to have any control over. They want to be in control over every emotion. So she's going to notice her tone and you're going to see her bring it back down. She's very gifted. Look at here. All right. So when she's speaking his name, then she keeps looking up and it's a smirk, a wicked grin. Look at there. You see that? from her side eye right there. She's telling, she's going to tell this story here. People talking, smearing my name. All right, then you see, notice even the flexion on the offer. From the bottom of my heart, I want to offer. Like, that's not even a real apology. It's just like when somebody says, well, if I hurt your feelings, then I'm sorry. That it's not even a real apology. Once you go with the I'm sorry if, you know what I mean? That's not a real apology. So this here is not an apology. It's not. She's just offering, right? Meaning, like, if you take it or leave it. Right? So she says she at least is acknowledging that the grandson is responsible for it. All right, look at that. Look at her. You understand his name is Sparks. You see that smirk? Look at her. She turned her nose up again right there. Right? I want to apologize to the little boy. It's just real. I want to say condescending. It just does. It's not genuine. You can see the whole, uppityness on here because she doesn't think that, these people are beneath her, and her grandson, and she's somebody mighty Mary. And look at him. This here is textbook, right? So in the background, it was a movie. I want to think it was Spike Lee. Anyway, when I think who was the one played in it? Samuel L. Jackson. Anyway, and at the end, like he was a junkie addict, and the family had been trying to do interventions with him. Anyway, he never got himself together, but whenever he would fall off the wagon or get into trouble, he would always try to, he would dance for the mother, right? And this is him putting on his face. Whenever he get off into trouble, you can tell he'd go into this here, and mom or grandma or the rest of his enabling family members would speak up on his behalf and say make excuses or whatever like that. So now he's trying to put on the act to show the people, like, look, see, poor me, grandma's, as a minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ. And these narcissists will throw religion at you as a way to control you. Even society puts this religion on you as a way to control you, right? Because you're going to feel guilty. And a lot of times we want to leave out of these situations, or we want to feel a certain way. And then when we are targeted and guilt is thrown at us, then we may not do the right thing because we are worried about how we look or how we're making other people feel, because these religions make you put other people first, right? So this is where she's going with this. And since she's been a minister for all this time, her commitment to this whole Christianity stuff is enough to be able to speak up out on her grandson's behalf. And this is the part where we really need to forgive him. And notice the tone of her voice. Will ask all of you. It's my hope and my prayer that my grandson. It just sounds so fake with the childlike voice. Like, okay, so everybody should just give him a smack on the wrist It's my prayer that we can all just get along and that you guys can forgive my grandson since I've been a minister for over 40 years.
Some of you have said that you will never forgive him. Please do not be like the man who drank the poison and hoped his enemy would die.
You see that? Look, even her face when she said it would die. Let me move it back just a little bit more. Look at this, y'all. Watch.
Do not be like the man who drank the poison and hoped his enemy would die.
You see it? You see it? And you hear it, right? Okay? That's a curse, right? Right? That's abuse. She's been abusing us. With all of this story and stuff. All of this stuff. This is an abuse. Even how she's nan to the victims with the I understand. You didn't even take the time to know what the name was. I understand the name is Brooks. How cold, right? I hope y'all getting this. I hope y'all seeing this. Like, this is abuse right here. After everybody had to sit through the 3 weeks of this wasted time court for this stuff, and then you sit up here and give this smuck statement on behalf of this. These are insults, y'all. This is abuse right here, and she's feeling good about this. Yes, serve them right. This is their problem.
Unforgiveness is a terrible disease, just like mental illness.
Wow. And she likened unforgiveness as being terrible, right? Terrible. Terrible. Just like mental illness, right? So if you have unforgiveness in your heart from the abuse, and these are things that abusers tell you so you can come back and get more and more abuse. I bet you any kind of money she been abusing the hell out of her husband for, if they've been married for however long. You can see the abuse in her face and you can hear it in her conversation. Right? So these are clues too. If you know somebody and this is their mother or their grandmother, something like that, you don't want to be connected in that family, right? Because there are going to be problems. There are going to be problems, right? And then you're going to be connected, especially if there's kids involved too. You don't want to mix with this, right? So that's the reason why it's important to be selective, right? Be selective and take your time, right? I'm just going to stop there because I've been kind of beating this horse for a little minute, and I'm just hoping that you guys were able to see that that these are definitely caution signs, yellow flags to be aware of, so you're not endangering yourself and getting mixed up with these narcissists, and then running the risk of having to break up, make up multiple times with them when you when they keep looping you by hoovering you back into the relationship dynamics in order to give you more abuse. So these are reasons why it's important not to get distracted with them like that, stuff like that. So if I don't have any questions, I just want to say that I'm, just kind of refurbishing this channel here, and it's kind of new, and I'm excited to continue talking about these type of topics. And I want to put out some other things too. I want to talk about, like, I know R. Kelly is back off in the news where they're saying he's supposed to be trying to get a retrial and getting a whole retrial because apparently there was some of these victims weren't real victims, or some of them lied or whatever like that. And these narcissists are notorious for, doing these kind of things. As far as like once it's already been proven, they still will never admit it, right? Even if they're, caught red-handed and sentenced or anything like that, they will still never admit it. Like we saw there, Darrell never admitted to it, never took ownership of it at all, right? And we saw that too. R. Kelly never took ownership of it at all. We saw that with Bill Cosby, never took ownership of it at all, right? So these are all typical behaviors, and to them, they feel like if they don't have to admit it, like they are convinced that people are believing the lie, right? 'Cause that's their imaginary thinking that they have and stuff like that. And we saw that again here with Darrell, as far as him believing that he was going to be able to tell the jury all this stuff with this more imaginary thinking. So again, here's my daily live. So the plan is to be going live daily on this here platform, talking about mental health and helping victims become survivors, and analyzing different things that's out in society so we can look at those as examples and not have to learn lessons by being in something, being a victim and having to learn and heal and get out of it. And as always, stay safe, do your due diligence, do your research, and do a lot of your stuff in silence. Like one of the things that you want to be aware of is that you do not tell the narcissist that you are aware that they are a narcissist. Don't let them know that. Just keep on playing dumb, and you wait for the cycle. Did I ever tell y'all my Frogger story? Let me tell you the Frogger story. All right. So I said before, 51, about to be 52. I was a kid growing up in the 80s when the video games and all that good stuff was out. There was a video game called Frogger. Put a quarter in the machine. They had a joystick, and you had to move the joystick forward, and the frog would leap from logs and lily pads that were, moving in motion. So you having to hop forward, having to wait for a log to pass by to hop on it, and then another log or lily pad or something going this way, hop on it to get to the land. So the object was to be able to time it just right to be able to, once you're leaving this one, to hop on the next one, right? That was the whole concept. And that's how these narcissists do too. Like they have to, they have to leap from person to person in order to sustain themselves. So make sure that even when you're making your exit strategies, that you are planning it out too, right? Learn all you can about them. Learn the cycle, right? Love bombing, devaluation, discard, Hoover, right? Because the Hoover is something that you can avoid. So love bombing is the first one, right? And usually you can identify that with them just giving you a ton of attention, a ton of compliments, just really overdoing it to where you felt like, you've never felt like this about anybody. No one's ever felt like this about you. And you're super excited about it. You are just floating. It's a lot of adrenaline. It's like being on a roller coaster. It's like wee wee, right? So it's always exciting when you first meet them. They are exciting people, and they rush, right? And one of the reasons why they need to rush you is just like those salespeople when they try to quickly get you to sign here so they can make the deal. That's how these narcissists are. They want to be able to quickly secure you off into the relationship before you can wake up and see behind the mask, before the mask falls off, right? The mask is only good for so long. And since they have to operate in these cycles, if you've messed up and you've got entangled with one, just wait for them to devalue you and discard you. And then when they discard you, that's when you make your exit. Because they're going to give you the silent treatment for, whatever their time period is, say it's, 3 weeks or something like that. That gives you a 3 weeks heads up, right? If that's what they're going to do. So when they discard you, take that as your opportunity to get out of there. Go no contact and don't ever contact them again. You'll have to block them from everything, right? Because they're very, when they get ready to try to hoover you back, which they will, you won't be available for it, right? Because in the beginning, it's very difficult for you to resist the Hoover because you've been love bombed, right? So they just come back and do that again. It's like they try to get you addicted to them. That way, you kind of have withdrawals, or you really don't even want to let them go because when they were being good to you, it felt so good, right? So that's part of the whole mental abuse and mental manipulation that they doing to you. That's why it's important not to get involved there because it's extremely painful and it's not fun. It's difficult to get out of because um, they can be dangerous, right? They can be dangerous. Not all of them are, but a lot of them are, and they go from 0 to 10 instantly when they do rage. So you have to be very, very careful. So again, I'm excited because I've been keeping up this here daily live and been talking now for about an hour. We went through some more of the Darrell Brooks video, and also the one TikTok video that came across my radar. I'm just excited because I'm sure there's lots of men who's playing this card here, and some women are falling for it and ending up getting into these situations where they have signed up to be a hospice wife. And this hospice wife is a new term that I just kind of came about, but I have seen it. Like I said, I've got a 30-year history as a nurse, and sometimes I would see those men that they'd be in their 40s and 50s in nursing homes sometimes too, and sick, and they would still just be just as mean and nasty to these wives and stuff like that. So, these narcs, when they get sick, they're even worse. So, and like I said, it's not just men. There are some women, female narcissists out there too, and they used to be even more brutal to their mates and stuff like that. And I used to always wonder, I was like, why would anybody who would want to deal with this? Like, why would you? Who would want that? But these victims have been so gaslit to where they are just soulless, like they just look like little zombies, right? Then they are the Stockholm syndrome and all that stuff. There's a lot that goes off into it, and of course we're not going to be able to address it all in one live. So one of the things I want to start to say too is I want to throw out some little beauty tips or whatever like that, or whatever it is that I'm wearing, something like that, just because the channel actually was, supposed to be about this hair journey and stuff like that. However, I know that all these things kind of tie in together because a lot of the reasons why we do damaging things to our hair and scalp is directly related to trying to attract, these men. And, you know, it's not good. Anyway, so I want us to build our self-esteem. Like I said, everyone is responsible for healing themselves. And until you are healed, it's not a good idea to go out looking for relationships because you're just going to attract someone who else is not healed. And you could be opening the door for a hard lesson. So I'm excited and for the healing and stuff like that too. And if you got any questions, I'd love to be available to answer the questions. And like I said, I've got 30 years of nursing experience. I've done a lot of listening, a lot of observation, and a lot of also interacting and stuff like that, and a lot of research too, because we can't get rid of the narcissists, right? They're all over, right? They at work, they're in our schools, they're in your grocery stores, they're all over, they're in your families, right? So my goal is to bring awareness to it so we are able to know how to live with them, right? Because there's going to be some times where you may not be able to go no contact, right? There's like small children involved or something like that. There's ways to do it, and but you have to be extremely careful. It may be a situation where you can't, right? Maybe it's your boss or something like that, and you're not in a position where you can just quit your job and go someplace else. And then too, you quit your job and go someplace else. Guess what? There's going to be narcs there too. They're all over. They are in the workplace, because they're people too. So the best thing to do is to get yourself aware. That way you don't let them waste your time with arguing or um, you know just spinning your tail because they keep sending you on these little wild goose chase or doing all this counterproductive stuff that don't make sending you on like a meaningless wild goose chase just to waste your time, stuff like that. So these things are frustrating. It's very frustrating when you have to work for or work with a narcissist because they get off on causing mischief. Back in the day before I really was aware of the term narcissist, I used to call them gremlins, right? Gremlins. They just come there and try to destroy. These gremlins, they would be at work. There are some nurses that are gremlins, doctors are gremlins, not all of them, but they gremlins or these narcissists exist all over. There's some teachers that they're all over. The bus driver, they could be anybody, right? So all that to say is that it's our responsibility to be able to see, you can't just trust everybody because the narcissists don't, right? So you have to be able to, know them and know yourself too. That way you can decrease your chances of getting entangled. So with that being said, I'd like to also say that I'm going to be putting more things down off into the descriptions with different clickable links for different opportunities for information and stuff like that. And like I said, I'm just getting this all started together. Last week, I wasn't even aware that this was something I was going to be talking about or the direction that the channel was going in, but I'm just going with what the spirit is giving me, and I'm just excited to be a voice and to be here with confidence and knowing that it's going to help somebody to avoid this stuff. So if y'all see any things out there, you can or you're suspicious about it, you want to know like is this narc behavior, send it to me and I can go over it and break it down and show you, like I said before, in another video on another channel, I am the narc buster, and I really do love busting out these narcs and shining the light on them, and that's how you bust them, because they don't like the exposure. So exposing them with my light and being able to help other people, right? So if you haven't already, go ahead and like and subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow in another video. Peace and love from the All Around Natural Beauty.